Marcus Williams stood in his modest two-bedroom house, watching his twin daughters, Sarah and Emma, practice their math problems at the small wooden table he had built himself. The afternoon sunlight streamed through the worn curtains, casting gentle shadows across their notebooks filled with careful calculations. At 8 years old, both girls showed remarkable intelligence that often left their teachers amazed and their classmates in awe. The house was simple, but filled with love. Marcus had purchased it 5 years ago with every penny of his savings from working double shifts at the local manufacturing plant. The mortgage payments stretched his budget thin, but seeing his daughters have a stable home made every sacrifice worthwhile. The walls were decorated with their artwork, achievement certificates from school, and family photos that captured moments of pure joy despite their modest circumstances. Sarah, the older twin by 12 minutes, had an exceptional gift for mathematics. She could solve problems that challenged students 2 grades ahead of her. Her notebook was filled with complex equations she created for fun, and she often helped other children in her class understand difficult concepts. Emma, meanwhile, displayed extraordinary talent in science and reading. She devoured every book in their small local library and conducted simple experiments using household items, much to Marcus's delight and occasional concern for his kitchen supplies. Marcus worked 60 hours a week at the plant, operating heavy machinery that shaped metal parts for automobiles. The work was physically demanding, leaving his hands calloused and his back aching, but he never complained. Each paycheck brought them closer to stability, and every overtime hour meant better opportunities for his daughters. He had dreams that extended far beyond the factory floor, dreams that centered entirely on Sarah and Emma's futures. The local elementary school provided a decent education, but Marcus recognized that his daughters possessed talents that required nurturing beyond what the underfunded institution could offer. He spent evenings researching educational opportunities, visiting the library to read about advanced academic programs and prestigious schools that could challenge his daughters appropriately. The more he learned, the more convinced he became that Sarah and Emma deserved access to the finest education available. During parent-teacher conferences, both girls' teachers expressed amazement at their abilities. Mrs. Henderson, Sarah's teacher, mentioned that the girl had exhausted the mathematics curriculum for her grade level and was ready for advanced work typically reserved for middle school students. Mr. Peterson, Emma's teacher, shared similar sentiments about her scientific curiosity and reading comprehension skills that surpassed high school levels. These conversations ignited something deep within Marcus's heart. He realized that his daughter's potential was truly extraordinary, but their current educational environment, while supportive, lacked the resources to fully develop their gifts. The public school system, despite the teachers' best efforts, simply couldn't provide the individualized attention and advanced curriculum that Sarah and Emma needed to flourish. Marcus began investigating private schools in the area, particularly those known for academic excellence and programs for gifted students. What he discovered both excited and overwhelmed him. Several institutions offered exactly what his daughters needed: small class sizes, advanced curricula, specialized programs for mathematically and scientifically gifted students, and teachers trained to work with exceptional learners. However, the tuition costs were staggering. Even the most modest private school required fees that exceeded Marcus's entire annual income. The prestigious academy that seemed perfect for both girls charged amounts that seemed impossible for a single father, working at a manufacturing plant. Yet Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that this was exactly where his daughters belonged. He spent sleepless nights calculating finances, exploring every possible avenue for funding their education. Scholarships existed, but competition was fierce, and most required standardized test scores that wouldn't be available until the girls were older. Financial aid programs helped, but even with assistance, the remaining costs seemed insurmountable given his current income. The weight of this realization pressed heavily on Marcus's shoulders. He watched his daughters tackle increasingly complex problems with ease, their minds hungry for challenges that their current school couldn't provide. Sarah had begun creating mathematical puzzles for herself, while Emma conducted elaborate experiments, using books she checked out from the adult section of the library. One evening, while helping the girls with homework that had become almost too simple for them, Marcus made a decision that would change their lives forever. He looked around their comfortable home, calculating its current market value against the cost of private education. The house represented security and stability, but it also represented opportunity that could unlock his daughter's unlimited potential. The next morning, Marcus called a real estate agent. His heart pounded as he explained his situation and requested a property evaluation. The agent, initially confused by his urgency, quickly understood the gravity of the situation when Marcus explained his daughter's exceptional abilities and educational needs. Within a week, the agent provided an estimate that both encouraged and terrified Marcus. The house's value, combined with his savings, would cover tuition for both girls at the prestigious Riverside Academy for approximately 4 years, provided he could find affordable housing alternatives and maintain his current income level. That evening, Marcus sat his daughters down for a conversation that would define their family's future. He explained, in terms they could understand, that sometimes achieving dreams requires tremendous sacrifice. He spoke about the amazing school where they could learn advanced mathematics, conduct real scientific experiments, and study alongside other children who shared their intellectual curiosity. Sarah and Emma listened with wide eyes, asking thoughtful questions about the school and what it would mean for their family. When Marcus mentioned they would need to sell their house and move to a smaller apartment, both girls immediately offered to give up toys, activities, and anything else necessary to help make it possible. Their willingness to sacrifice, combined with their excitement about educational opportunities, confirmed Marcus's belief that he was making the right choice. The decision was difficult, but seeing his daughter's potential convinced him that their future was worth any personal sacrifice he might need to make. Marcus began the process of preparing their house for sale, knowing that once this journey began, there would be no turning back. He was about to bet everything on his daughter's potential, trusting that their extraordinary gifts would ultimately justify the enormous risk he was taking. The house sold faster than Marcus had anticipated. Within 3 weeks, a young couple with their first child fell in love with the cozy home and its carefully maintained garden. As Marcus signed the final paperwork at the real estate office, his hands trembled slightly. He was officially homeless, but his bank account now contained enough money to transform his daughter's futures. Finding suitable housing proved more challenging than expected. Marcus scoured rental listings, seeking an affordable apartment in a safe neighborhood within reasonable distance of both Riverside Academy and his workplace. After viewing dozens of cramped, overpriced units, he finally settled on a small 2-bedroom apartment above a bakery in the older part of town. The apartment was a dramatic change from their house. The space was roughly 1/3 the size, with thin walls that allowed them to hear their neighbors' conversations and footsteps at all hours. The kitchen consisted of a narrow galley with outdated appliances, and the single bathroom required careful scheduling among the 3 family members. However, it was clean, safe, and importantly, affordable enough to preserve their education fund. Sarah and Emma approached the move with remarkable maturity and optimism. They helped pack their belongings, carefully deciding which items were essential and which could be donated or stored. Their book collection, educational materials, and a few cherished toys made the cut, while furniture and decorative items were left behind. Marcus watched with pride as his daughters embraced this significant life change with grace and understanding beyond their years. The transition to Riverside Academy exceeded everyone's expectations. Both girls underwent comprehensive evaluations that confirmed their exceptional abilities and helped design individualized learning plans. Sarah was placed in advanced mathematics courses typically reserved for high school students, while Emma entered accelerated science programs that allowed her to conduct sophisticated experiments under professional supervision. Their days became filled with intellectual challenges that finally matched their capabilities. Sarah thrived in calculus and advanced algebra, often staying after school to work on complex mathematical proofs with teachers who understood her passion for numbers. Emma flourished in chemistry and physics laboratories, designing her own experiments and presenting findings that impressed her instructors and fellow students alike. The academic environment at Riverside Academy was everything Marcus had hoped, for and more. Class sizes rarely exceeded 12 students, allowing teachers to provide individual attention and customize instruction for each child's learning style. The school's resources were extraordinary: fully equipped science laboratories, an extensive library with university-level texts, computer labs with the latest technology, and specialized programs for gifted students. However, the financial strain was immediate and intense. Marcus's factory wages, which had been sufficient for their previous lifestyle, now barely covered basic necessities after paying tuition and rent. Grocery shopping became an exercise in careful budgeting, with Marcus comparing prices, using coupons, and often choosing generic brands to stretch every dollar. The girls noticed their father's increased work hours and financial stress, though he tried to shield them from the worst of it. Marcus began working every available overtime shift, often leaving for work before dawn and returning after the girls were asleep. On weekends, he took on additional jobs, painting houses, doing yard work for neighbors, and helping with deliveries for local businesses. Despite the exhaustion, Marcus found energy in his daughter's enthusiasm and academic achievements. Sarah's mathematics teacher, Dr. Rodriguez, regularly updated him on her exceptional progress, mentioning that she was already preparing for advanced placement courses typically taken by 11th graders. Emma's science instructor, Professor Chen, described her experimental designs as sophisticated enough for undergraduate research projects. The other families at Riverside Academy came from vastly different economic backgrounds than the Williams family. During school events, Marcus noticed the expensive cars in the parking lot, the designer clothing worn by other parents, and the casual conversations about vacation homes and international travel. He sometimes felt out of place in his work clothes and aging vehicle, but the warm acceptance from other parents and teachers helped ease his discomfort. Some families, learning about Marcus's sacrifice, offered support in various ways. The Henderson family, whose son was in Emma's chemistry class, occasionally invited the girls for dinner when Marcus worked late shifts. Mrs. Patterson, a school board member, connected Marcus with a community program that provided free tutoring services, ensuring the girls could receive additional help with their advanced coursework when needed. The apartment life presented its own challenges and adjustments. The girls had to study in the living room, sharing the small space for homework and projects. They learned to be creative with storage solutions, using every available inch efficiently. The lack of a backyard meant no more afternoon gardening or outdoor experiments, but they adapted by joining the school's environmental club and participating in community garden projects. Winter brought additional financial pressures as heating costs strained their budget further. Marcus layered on extra clothing and kept the thermostat lower to save money, but he ensured the girls remained comfortable and warm. He often worked extra shifts during the coldest months, using the overtime pay to cover increased utility bills and winter clothing for his growing daughters. Despite the hardships, both Sarah and Emma continued excelling academically. Sarah's mathematical abilities caught the attention of a local university professor who offered to mentor her through independent study projects. Emma's science fair project on renewable energy solutions won first place at the regional level, qualifying her for state competition. Their achievements brought recognition to Riverside Academy and pride to Marcus, who attended every school event despite his exhausting work schedule. Seeing his daughters receive academic awards and recognition from their peers validated every sacrifice he had made. The tired father in his work uniform stood among wealthy parents in business suits, beaming with pride as his daughters collected honors and accolades. As the first academic year at Riverside Academy concluded, Marcus reflected on the magnitude of change their family had experienced. The financial stress was overwhelming, the living conditions were cramped, and his physical exhaustion was constant. Yet watching Sarah and Emma flourish intellectually, form friendships with like-minded peers, and develop confidence in their exceptional abilities convinced him that selling their house had been the right decision. The girls' end-of-year reports were stellar, with both students achieving perfect grades and receiving commendations for their contributions to classroom discussions and independent research projects. Their teachers recommended them for even more advanced courses in the upcoming year, presenting new opportunities and challenges that would continue nurturing their remarkable talents. 3 years into their educational journey at Riverside Academy, the financial reality became increasingly difficult to ignore. Marcus's carefully calculated budget was stretched beyond its limits as tuition costs increased annually and his daughter's needs grew more complex. The girls, now 11 years old, required specialized textbooks, laboratory fees, and materials for advanced projects that exceeded his original estimates. The manufacturing plant where Marcus worked announced layoffs due to economic downturns, creating uncertainty about his job security. Though he managed to keep his position, overtime opportunities decreased significantly, reducing his income at the worst possible time. Marcus began searching for additional employment options, eventually finding weekend work at a local grocery store and evening shifts cleaning office buildings. Working 3 jobs meant Marcus rarely saw his daughters awake during weekdays. He left before sunrise for the factory, worked his regular shift, rushed to the grocery store or cleaning job, and returned home near midnight. Sarah and Emma had become remarkably independent, preparing simple meals, managing their homework, schedules, and maintaining their small apartment with minimal supervision. The girls' academic achievements continued to astound their teachers and peers. Sarah had exhausted the mathematics curriculum at Riverside Academy and was taking courses through a local community college. Her work in advanced calculus and mathematical theory impressed professors who often forgot they were working with an 11-year-old student. She began considering research projects that could potentially contribute to academic journals. Emma's passion for environmental science had evolved into sophisticated research on climate change solutions. Her project on carbon capture using modified algae systems caught the attention of environmental scientists at nearby universities. She spent hours after school in the laboratory, refining her experiments and collecting data that would eventually form the foundation for her first scientific paper. Both girls had developed strong friendships with classmates who shared their intellectual curiosity. However, they gradually became aware of the economic differences between their family and others at the school. Class trips to expensive destinations, private tutoring sessions, and summer enrichment programs became regular topics of conversation among their peers, highlighting opportunities the Williams family simply couldn't afford. Marcus noticed his daughter's growing awareness of their financial limitations during a particularly difficult month when the apartment's heating system failed. Unable to afford immediate professional repairs, he spent an entire weekend learning to fix the system himself through online tutorials and borrowed tools. Sarah and Emma bundled in blankets while studying, never complaining, but clearly understanding that their situation was different from their classmates' experiences. The academic pressure intensified as both girls prepared for high school placement exams and scholarship applications. Riverside Academy's guidance counselor, Mrs. Foster, met with Marcus to discuss the girls' exceptional potential and the opportunities available at prestigious boarding schools and specialized programs. These institutions could provide resources and challenges appropriate for Sarah and Emma's abilities, but they came with price tags that made Riverside Academy seem affordable in comparison. During this meeting, Mrs. Foster gently broached the subject of the family's financial situation. She had observed Marcus's dedication and sacrifices, noting his presence at every school event, despite his obvious exhaustion and work commitments. The counselor mentioned scholarship opportunities and financial aid programs specifically designed for students with exceptional academic potential from low-income families. Marcus spent sleepless nights researching these opportunities, filling out countless applications and writing essays about his daughter's potential and their family's circumstances. The scholarship application process was complex and competitive, requiring detailed financial documentation, academic records, and personal statements that often brought tears to his eyes as he described watching his brilliant daughters flourish, despite their challenging circumstances. The strain of maintaining 3 jobs while supporting his daughter's education began affecting Marcus's health. He developed persistent back pain from the physical labor and chronic fatigue from working 16-hour days. During a routine school conference, Sarah's mathematics professor noticed Marcus's obvious exhaustion and suggested he consider reducing his workload for his own well-being. However, Marcus refused to compromise on his daughter's education. He had witnessed their transformation from curious children into serious young scholars with unlimited potential. Sarah was already corresponding with university professors about research opportunities, while Emma had been invited to present her environmental research at a regional science symposium attended by graduate students and professionals. The apartment above the bakery had become a hub of academic activity despite its limitations. The girls had converted every available surface into study space, with scientific equipment carefully organized on makeshift shelves and mathematical formulas covering notebook pages scattered throughout the living room. Their dedication to learning was evident in every corner of their cramped home. Community members began recognizing the family's unique situation and Marcus's extraordinary commitment to his daughter's education. The bakery owner below their apartment, Mrs. Rodriguez, often sent up fresh bread and pastries, understanding that grocery money was tight. The local librarian reserved advanced textbooks and research materials specifically for Sarah and Emma, creating a small section of university-level resources they could access for free. As scholarship application deadlines approached, both girls threw themselves into preparing for standardized tests and entrance examinations. Their scores were consistently perfect or near perfect, placing them in the top percentiles nationally. Teachers at Riverside Academy wrote glowing recommendations describing the girls as the most exceptional students they had encountered in decades of educational experience. The waiting period for scholarship notifications was agonizing for Marcus. He had applied for every available program, grant, and financial aid opportunity, knowing that his daughter's future opportunities depended entirely on external funding. His savings from selling the house were nearly depleted, with only enough remaining for 1 more year of tuition at Riverside Academy, if no scholarships materialized. During this stressful period, both Sarah and Emma demonstrated remarkable maturity and empathy toward their father. They began researching state universities with strong programs in their areas of interest, assuring Marcus that they could excel anywhere with his continued support. Their willingness to adjust their dreams to accommodate financial reality touched Marcus deeply while reinforcing his determination to provide them with every possible opportunity. The first scholarship notification arrived on a snowy February morning. Sarah had been awarded a full academic scholarship to a prestigious boarding school known for its advanced mathematics and science programs. The letter included not only tuition coverage, but also room, board, books, and even a stipend for personal expenses. Marcus read the letter 3 times before the reality sank in, then called his daughters to share the incredible news. 2 weeks later, Emma received similar notification of a full scholarship to the same institution based on her environmental science research and exceptional academic record. Both girls had been accepted to summer research programs typically reserved for high school graduates, providing them with opportunities to work alongside university professors and graduate students in state-of-the-art facilities. The prestigious Whitmore Academy sat on 300 acres of pristine countryside, with Gothic buildings that housed some of the most advanced educational facilities in the nation. As Marcus drove his aging car through the wrought iron gates, both Sarah and Emma pressed their faces against the windows, marveling at the laboratories, libraries, and dormitories that would become their home for the next 4 years. The transition from their cramped apartment to the academy's spacious dormitories felt surreal to both girls. Each student had a private room with built-in desks, high-speed internet access, and climate control. Luxuries that seemed almost excessive after years of sharing space and managing with basic amenities. Their hallway buzzed with conversations in multiple languages as students from around the world prepared for an academic year that would challenge even the most gifted young minds. Sarah quickly found herself immersed in mathematical research that connected her with graduate students at partner universities. Her dormitory room soon filled with whiteboards covered in complex equations, and she frequently participated in video conferences with mathematicians across the globe. The Academy's mathematics department provided access to computational resources and software that allowed her to explore theoretical concepts she had only read about in academic papers. Emma thrived in the Academy's Environmental Research Center, which featured greenhouses, climate simulation chambers, and equipment sophisticated enough to conduct graduate-level research. Her project on algae-based carbon capture systems evolved into a comprehensive study that attracted attention from environmental scientists at major research institutions. She spent afternoons in the laboratory, carefully monitoring experiments that could potentially contribute to climate change solutions. Marcus returned to his factory job with mixed emotions. The apartment felt impossibly empty without his daughter's constant presence and academic discussions. However, he finally had relief from the crushing financial pressure that had dominated their lives for nearly 4 years. With scholarship, covering all educational expenses, he could reduce his work schedule from 3 jobs to just his primary employment at the manufacturing plant. The girls called home every evening, sharing details about their classes, research projects, and new friendships. Marcus listened with pride and amazement as they described collaborating with professors, attending seminars with visiting scientists, and participating in academic competitions that connected them with exceptional students from around the world. Their vocabulary had expanded to include technical terms and concepts that sometimes required explanation for their father to understand. Both Sarah and Emma maintained perfect academic records while contributing original research to their respective fields. Sarah's work in number theory impressed her mathematics professors so thoroughly that she was invited to present her findings at undergraduate research symposiums. Emma's environmental studies had evolved into publishable research, with her faculty advisor encouraging her to submit papers to peer-reviewed journals. The Academy's resources extended far beyond classroom instruction. Both girls participated in internship programs during school breaks, working alongside professionals in their fields of interest. Sarah spent a summer at a national laboratory conducting mathematical modeling for physics research, while Emma worked with environmental consultants on projects assessing renewable energy implementations for major corporations. Marcus used his newfound financial stability to improve his own life situation. He moved from the cramped apartment above the bakery to a modest but comfortable one-bedroom unit in a quieter neighborhood. For the first time in years, he had space to relax and pursue interest beyond work. He began taking evening classes at the local community college, studying business administration with the goal of eventually advancing beyond factory work. The girls' academic achievements continued accumulating recognition and opportunities. Sarah's mathematical research earned her invitations to summer programs at prestigious universities, where she worked directly with renowned professors on cutting-edge theoretical problems. Emma's environmental work led to mentorship opportunities with scientists leading national climate research initiatives. During their sophomore year at Whitmore Academy, both girls began seriously considering their post-graduation plans. University. Admissions counselors regularly visited the campus, specifically seeking to recruit students with exceptional academic records and research experience. Sarah received preliminary acceptance letters from several top-tier mathematics programs, while Emma attracted interest from environmental science departments at leading research universities. The transformation in both girls was remarkable. They had evolved from curious children into serious young researchers with sophisticated understanding of their chosen fields. Their confidence in academic settings impressed adults who often forgot they were interacting with teenagers. They spoke fluently about complex theoretical concepts and conducted research with methodology typically expected from graduate students. Marcus visited the academy several times each year for special events and conferences. Walking across the beautiful campus, he often reflected on the journey that had brought his family to this point. The sacrifice of their home had seemed enormous 4 years earlier, but witnessing his daughter's intellectual growth and academic achievements validated every difficult decision along the way. The girls' relationships with their father had evolved as well. They understood more fully the magnitude of sacrifices Marcus had made to provide their educational opportunities. Their phone conversations often included expressions of gratitude and discussions about how they could eventually support him in return. They had developed a mature appreciation for his dedication and the risks he had taken to invest in their potential. During their junior year, both Sarah and Emma began applying for early admission to university programs. Their academic records, research experience, and faculty recommendations positioned them as extremely competitive candidates for the most selective institutions in the country. Sarah focused on mathematics and theoretical physics programs, while Emma pursued environmental engineering and climate science opportunities. The application process revealed the full extent of their academic accomplishments. Sarah had co-authored 2 mathematical papers with her academy professors, participated in national mathematics competitions, and completed coursework equivalent to a bachelor's degree in mathematics. Emma had published research on carbon capture systems, presented findings at professional conferences, and designed environmental solutions currently being tested by research institutions. University admission letters began arriving during the spring of their junior year. Both girls received acceptance offers with full scholarships from multiple institutions. Sarah was accepted to mathematics programs at institutions known for producing Fields Medal winners and Nobel laureates. Emma received offers from environmental programs at universities leading global climate research efforts. The decision-making process was both exciting and overwhelming. Each university offered unique opportunities for research, mentorship, and academic growth. Faculty members actively recruited both girls, describing research projects and resources that could support their continued development as scientists. And mathematicians. Marcus participated in campus visits and admission discussions with pride and amazement. University professors and administrators treated his daughters as peers, engaging them in sophisticated conversations about research directions and career opportunities. The contrast with their elementary school years in the under-resourced public system was striking and profound. As their senior year at Whitmore Academy approached, both Sarah and Emma had established themselves as exceptional students poised for remarkable careers in their respective fields. Their research work was contributing to actual scientific advancement, and their academic achievements had attracted attention from leading institutions worldwide. The investment Marcus had made in their education was generating returns that exceeded his most optimistic expectations. Graduation day at Whitmore Academy dawned bright and clear, with families gathering from across the globe to celebrate their children's achievements. Marcus sat in the audience wearing his best suit, purchased specifically for this momentous occasion, watching as his daughters prepared to receive recognition as valedictorians of their graduating class. Both Sarah and Emma had maintained perfect academic records throughout their 4 years while conducting research that had already begun influencing their respective fields. Sarah's graduation speech focused on the importance of educational opportunity and the transformative power of mathematical thinking. Standing at the podium with confidence that would have seemed impossible during her elementary school years, She spoke eloquently about how access to advanced education had allowed her to explore the beautiful connections between abstract mathematics and practical applications in physics and engineering. Emma's recognition as co-valedictorian came with special acknowledgement of her environmental research, which had evolved into a comprehensive climate solution currently being implemented by environmental organizations. Her work on algae-based carbon capture systems had attracted attention from international research consortiums and environmental policy organizations seeking scientific input on climate change mitigation strategies. The university choices both girls ultimately made reflected their commitment to pushing the boundaries of human knowledge while maintaining strong family connections. Sarah accepted a full scholarship to pursue mathematics and theoretical physics at a prestigious institution known for groundbreaking research in quantum mechanics and mathematical modeling. Emma chose an environmental engineering program at a university leading global sustainability research initiatives. Both universities offered accelerated doctoral programs that would allow the girls to complete their undergraduate and graduate education in 6 years, rather than the traditional 8. Their academic preparation at Whitmore Academy had positioned them to handle graduate-level coursework immediately, and their research experience provided valuable foundations for doctoral dissertation projects. Marcus experienced profound pride, mixed with bittersweet emotions, as his daughters prepared for their next academic adventure. The young women preparing for university bore little resemblance to the curious 8-year-old girls who had once studied at his handmade wooden table. They had developed into confident, articulate scholars capable of contributing meaningfully to complex scientific discussions and research initiatives. The first year of university proved that both girls were ready for the academic challenges ahead. Sarah's coursework in advanced mathematics and theoretical physics positioned her at the cutting edge of research in mathematical modeling of quantum systems. Her professors quickly recognized her exceptional capabilities and invited her to participate in research projects typically reserved for advanced graduate students. Emma's environmental engineering studies connected her with scientists working on large-scale climate solutions for governmental and international organizations. Her undergraduate research project expanded her algae-based carbon capture work into pilot programs being tested by environmental agencies seeking scalable climate change mitigation technologies. Both girls maintained their close relationship with Marcus through regular phone calls and video conferences. They shared details about their research projects, described their professors and fellow students, and always inquired about his well-being and life in their small hometown. Their success had not diminished their appreciation for his sacrifices or their commitment to maintaining strong family bonds. Marcus, now in his mid-40s, had used the years of financial relief to significantly improve his own situation. His evening business classes had led to a promotion within the manufacturing company, moving him from factory floor work to a supervisory position with better pay and less physical demands. He had also begun investing small amounts of money each month, building a modest retirement fund and emergency savings account. During their second year of university, both Sarah and Emma began receiving recognition that extended far beyond academic circles. Sarah's mathematical research contributed to theoretical frameworks being used by physicists studying quantum computing applications. Emma's environmental work influenced policy recommendations being considered by governmental agencies addressing climate change initiatives. The transformation was remarkable. The girls who had once shared homework space in a cramped apartment above a bakery were now conducting research that attracted attention from Nobel laureates and international policy organizations. Their work was being cited in academic papers, and they regularly participated in professional conferences alongside established scientists and researchers. University professors often commented on both girls' unusual combination of intellectual brilliance and personal maturity. They approached complex research problems with methodical precision while maintaining collaborative relationships with colleagues and mentors. Their backgrounds had taught them to appreciate opportunities while working diligently to maximize every educational advantage provided to them. Marcus received updates about his daughter's achievements through phone calls that often left him amazed by the complexity and importance of their work. Sarah would explain her mathematical discoveries in terms he could understand, while Emma described her environmental research projects with enthusiasm that reminded him of her childhood experiments in their small kitchen years earlier. Both girls began receiving recruitment offers from major corporations, research institutions, and governmental agencies interested in their expertise. Sarah's mathematical abilities attracted attention from technology companies developing quantum computing systems and financial institutions seeking advanced modeling capabilities. Emma's environmental research generated interest from consulting firms, renewable energy corporations, and international environmental organizations. However, both daughters remained committed to completing their doctoral programs and pursuing academic careers focused on research rather than immediately entering private industry. They had developed passions for discovering new knowledge and solving fundamental problems that extended beyond financial considerations or career advancement opportunities. Their third year of university brought opportunities for international collaboration and research exchanges. Sarah spent a semester at a European research institute working with mathematicians studying theoretical physics applications. Emma participated in an environmental research program in South America, studying rainforest ecosystems and developing conservation strategies with indigenous communities and international scientists. These experiences broadened both girls' perspectives, while reinforcing their commitment to using their exceptional abilities for meaningful contributions to human knowledge and global problem-solving. They returned from their international experiences with expanded networks of professional collaborators and deeper understanding of how their research could address real-world challenges. Marcus visited his daughter's university campuses several times, always impressed by the respect and admiration their professors and fellow students showed toward them. Faculty members regularly mentioned Sarah and Emma as among the most exceptional students they had encountered in decades of academic careers. Their research contributions were already influencing their fields in ways typically associated with established professionals rather than undergraduate students. As they approached the final year of their accelerated doctoral programs, both girls faced decisions about their post-graduation careers. Multiple universities offered faculty positions, research institutions extended invitations for postdoctoral fellowships, and private organizations presented lucrative opportunities in applied research and development. The choices ahead reflected the incredible journey that had begun with Marcus's decision to sell their house and invest everything in his daughter's educational potential. Two young women who might have remained under-challenged in an underfunded public school system had evolved into researchers poised to make significant contributions to mathematics, physics, and environmental science throughout their careers. 10 years after selling their home, Marcus Williams found himself standing in the driveway of a beautiful 3-bedroom house in the suburbs, holding keys that his daughters had just placed in his hands. The morning sun illuminated the well-maintained garden and wraparound porch of a home far nicer than the modest house he had sacrificed for their education years earlier. Dr. Sarah Williams had completed her doctoral program in mathematics and theoretical physics with groundbreaking research that contributed to advances in quantum computing. Her dissertation work had attracted international attention and led to a prestigious postdoctoral fellowship at a renowned research institute. Now, 24 years old, she held a position as an assistant professor at a major university, while consulting for technology companies developing next-generation computing systems. Dr. Emma Williams had earned her doctorate in environmental engineering with research that influenced national climate policy recommendations. Her innovative work on carbon capture technologies had evolved into patents and commercial applications being implemented by environmental organizations worldwide. She had accepted a faculty position at a leading research university while maintaining consulting relationships with governmental agencies and international environmental organizations. The house they had purchased for their father represented more than gratitude for his sacrifices. It symbolized the completion of a family journey that had begun with a father's faith in his daughter's potential and their willingness to endure temporary hardship for long-term opportunity. Every room reflected thoughtful consideration of Marcus's needs and preferences, from the home office where he could pursue his business studies to the workshop space for his woodworking hobby. Marcus walked through each room with wonder and emotion, remembering the cramped apartment where his daughters had studied advanced mathematics and conducted science experiments on makeshift laboratory spaces. The contrast between their modest beginnings and current circumstances felt almost surreal, yet every achievement had been earned through dedication, sacrifice, and unwavering commitment to educational excellence. Both daughters had established successful careers that combined academic research with practical applications of their knowledge. Sarah's work in mathematical modeling contributed to advances in artificial intelligence and quantum computing that were transforming multiple industries. Emma's environmental research influenced policy decisions and technological developments addressing climate change on national and international scales. Their financial success allowed them to easily afford the house for Marcus while maintaining their own comfortable lifestyles. Sarah had received significant consulting fees from technology companies seeking her expertise in advanced mathematical applications. Emma's patents and consulting work with environmental organizations had generated substantial income beyond her university salary. However, the house represented more than financial capability. It demonstrated the profound transformation that had occurred within their family structure over the preceding years. The daughters, who had once depended entirely on their father's sacrifices, were now in positions to provide security and comfort for the man who had invested everything in their potential. Marcus had continued his own educational journey during the years his daughters pursued their advanced degrees. He completed his business administration program and earned a bachelor's degree while working full-time at the manufacturing company. His combination of practical work experience and formal education had led to additional promotions, eventually resulting in a management position overseeing multiple departments within the manufacturing facility. The evening of the house presentation, neighbors began arriving for a celebration that Sarah and Emma had organized to introduce their father to the community. The gathering included families from the neighborhood, colleagues from both daughters' universities, and several of Marcus's co-workers who had witnessed his dedication throughout the challenging years. Dr. Rodriguez, Sarah's former mathematics professor from Riverside Academy, attended the celebration along with Professor Chen, who had mentored Emma's early scientific interests. Both educators spoke emotionally about witnessing the Williams family's journey from struggling circumstances to remarkable academic and professional success. They described Marcus as an exceptional parent whose unwavering faith in his daughter's abilities had enabled achievements that continued inspiring other families facing similar challenges. The celebration featured displays of both daughters, research work, academic achievements, and professional recognition they had received over the years. Scientific journals containing their published papers were arranged alongside awards, certificates, and photographs documenting their educational journey from elementary school through doctoral programs. Guests marveled at the progression from curious children to accomplished researchers whose work influenced national and international scientific communities. Marcus delivered a brief speech thanking everyone for their support throughout the family's journey. He spoke about the importance of believing in children's potential and making sacrifices necessary to provide educational opportunities. His words resonated with parents in attendance who recognized the extraordinary commitment required to prioritize long-term educational investment over immediate comfort and financial security. Both Sarah and Emma addressed the gathering, describing their father's sacrifices and expressing gratitude for the foundation he had provided for their success. They spoke about living in the small apartment, watching their father work multiple jobs and understanding even as children that his dedication was creating opportunities for them to pursue their dreams and develop their exceptional abilities. 3. Celebration also served as a networking opportunity for community members interested in supporting educational initiatives for gifted children from low-income families. Several attendees discussed establishing scholarship funds and mentorship programs to help other families navigate the challenges of providing advanced education for exceptionally talented children without adequate financial resources. Marcus's former colleagues from the manufacturing plant expressed amazement at the transformation they had witnessed over the years. They remembered his exhaustion during the period when he worked 3 jobs, his pride when discussing his daughter's academic achievements, and his determination to continue supporting their education despite significant personal hardships. The neighborhood itself represented a significant upgrade from their previous living situations. Tree-lined streets, well-maintained homes, and a strong sense of community provided an environment where Marcus could finally enjoy the stability and comfort he had deferred for years while investing in his daughter's futures. The area featured walking trails, community centers, and recreational facilities that offered opportunities for relaxation and social connection. As weeks passed, Marcus settled into his new home with deep appreciation for the journey that had led to this point. He established routines that included morning walks through the neighborhood, evening reading in his comfortable living room, and weekend projects in his workshop space. The contrast with his previous lifestyle of constant work and financial stress was profound and deeply satisfying. Both daughters visited regularly, often bringing colleagues and friends who were curious to meet the father whose sacrifices had enabled such remarkable academic achievements. These visits reinforced the strong family bonds that had sustained them through years of hardship and continued strengthening as their circumstances improved dramatically. Marcus began volunteering with local educational organizations, sharing his experience with other parents considering significant sacrifices to support their children's educational opportunities. His story inspired families facing similar decisions while providing practical guidance about navigating financial challenges, scholarship applications, and maintaining family unity during difficult transitions. The house became a gathering place for extended family members, longtime friends, and new community connections. Marcus hosted holiday celebrations, birthday parties, and informal dinners that brought together people from all phases of his family's journey. These gatherings often featured discussions about education, scientific research, and the importance of supporting talented children regardless of their economic backgrounds. Sarah and Emma's continued professional success validated Marcus's original decision to sell their home and invest in their education. Sarah's research contributions to quantum computing applications attracted international recognition and consulting opportunities with major technology corporations. Emma's environmental work influenced policy decisions and technological developments, addressing climate change challenges on global scales. Their achievements extended beyond personal and professional success to impact broader scientific communities and social policy discussions. Both daughters regularly spoke at conferences, participated in educational panels, and contributed to discussions about improving educational opportunities for gifted children from diverse economic backgrounds.